how we communicate is different for everyone else, professionally and personally. So how do we communicate? We communicate our wants, our needs, daily lives, like what we did this weekend, what we're gonna do, just gossiping. Different ways of communicating are sign language, pet cards, verbally, signs, writing it down. There's multiple ways. So, building a family at a workplace. So, you want to get to know your peer coworkers that you work with. Starting off is telling them your background of how long have you worked in this field, what do you know, what do you not know. So, do you know a program that they use? Do you need to be trained on that program? The basics of your background, education. Did you go to college? How long? Have you worked in this field before, or is this your first job ever in this field? Now, talking about their kids, just their personal life, getting to know them, building that relationship so that it's easier to work with them and build up bigger topics later on down the road. Do they have a kid? Do they have a family? Do they live at home? Is this their first time ever having a job? How long have they been there? All of that stuff. Just knowing the basics, bare minimum. Then talking about different after work activities. Do they have a favorite Mexican place? Do they go out to a restaurant with their friends all the time? Do they play a certain game that they really like? Do they play a sport maybe? Anything that they do outside of work. Do they go on family vacations? Just getting to know them outside of work is different than inside of work. It makes it easier to get the job done. Now, getting the job done. To get the job done, you have to communicate to people. There's different ways to communicate with people. Some people need step by step on what to do for a job. To make sure the task gets done correctly, you have to learn the different ways people communicate. Are there someone that needs a step plan, or can you just say, hey Tom, go write a program for this, we need it by tomorrow. And they know what to do, they understand, and will get it done. Learning how they communicate is very important in the work field. Breaking down a task for everyone, again, letting everyone know how it's supposed to be done, so that, because when we work in a field, we don't work just by ourselves. We work with coworkers, and communicating all together is how the business runs and functions and stays functioning. Now there's a difference in presentations and talking to your boss. You would not talk to your boss or in an office presentation to like a buyer different than you would to your coworkers. You need to recognize, you need to change up how you speak then. You need to be maybe happier or more informational. Different grammar, different words, different personality, kind of. And just the way you communicate so that they know that you are a serious business because you are representing the business at this point. You're not just talking to your coworkers, making sure the job gets done. No, you are actually talking to the seller. You need to be happy and you want to make them buy it. In my case, I work with special needs kids. I work at a special needs daycare with all the different ages. We have multiple different ways of communicating there. That is a hard thing to do sometimes. You have nonverbal kids that are angry about something and you don't want them to use violence. So we have multiple different ways that we talk to them. One is this communication device. It basically looks like an iPad. It is kind of. And it has different pictures, and when they click, or if you type, you can type words out. It will talk for them and tell us what we want and let us have a conversation. You can personalize it. It's really cool. I love them. Another way is pet cards. Usually they're just like plastic cards, laminated. We make them all the time. Super simple, and then you just show them to the kid, or they show them to you, and you communicate that way. Another way is sign language. There's multiple different sign languages in my field. Some are, they make their own sign language up. Some are actual American Sign Language. Learning to communicate with them and letting them express themselves is very important. It helps with behaviors and just makes everyone happier. They're happier that they can communicate with us. We're happier that we know what they want and we get to know them and build that relationship. Okay, then there's a difference when you talk to your loved ones and get to know them. You want to be happier. You want to be less chill. You don't have to worry about it as much.